I'm Corbett Wall with DV Auction, here with your feeder flash for Tuesday, April the 25th, and this market's finally meeting some resistance here after 2 or 3 weeks there of just banner weeks and everything going up. It was bound to happen. Of course, this board's kind of been overbought, even though it's still struggling to stay up with the cash. It's gained an awful lot of ground without much backing up here for a few weeks, so we knew that we were going to see a little bit of that. You look at the board on Monday, your fats and feeders were both down. You look at some of the out months and it was down quite a bit, but the spot contracts couldn't go down much because we're here at the end of April and they're both April contracts, so they couldn't go down near as much as the out fronts because they've got to match up with cash here within just a few days. But your June live cattle contracts were down just over $1.50. May feeder cattle contracts and all going on from there through the summer and next fall, down $80 to $1.50. Your fat cattle trade, the results come in for the total sales last week. Negotiated in the 5-area feeding region, 125,700 head, a monster week. So keep that in mind this week. It's not a lot of trade going to happen this week, and the packers are going to be bound, determined to beat it down. So they've got some cattle stacked up that they've purchased here last week. They got another week, and we're getting into contracts for the next month, and they're really not wanting to give any more market position up. So it's going to be a tough go to try to do any trading at all this week, and wouldn't expect much. Of course, you know, your feedlot's not ready to give up much ground either, because especially in the northern plains, because they're so tight of cattle that it's just going to be a short trade, and some weak sisters will probably give up a little bit lower, and that'll be about it. But last week's weighted average on a live basis, steers weighted average was 131.60. That was up $3.59 compared to the previous week. Dress steers averaged 209.23, up $3.93 from the previous week. A little bit of the reason coming off this week is your cattle on feed that come out Friday. Didn't talk about it at the end of last week because it didn't seem like a big deal, but there was a little bit of bearishness in the placements. You looked at your inventories April 1st on feed, come in at 100%, which is exactly what the analysts had estimated. Your steers were actually down 2%, but your heifers on feed up 5%. So that gives you an idea how many fewer they were keeping back for replacements. But in your marketings were great, 110% of a year ago on your fed marketings in March there. That was great, and that was exactly what the analysts had predicted. But placements in March come in at 111% of a year ago, and the average of the analyst guess was 106, so that is quite a bit, and that's the highest March placement figure in over 20 years since they started keeping the cattle on feed report in that manner. So that is kind of big. You know, we've just got so much bullish fundamentals right now. It's hard to gauge how much that's going to hurt, but it was something for the board to use to try to push down on prices and stop this overboughtness that's been plaguing it for the last 2 or 3 weeks. So if that's what has to happen, that's okay. Your Monday markets, Oklahoma City, estimating 9,000 head. Early call 1 to 3 higher on feeder cattle, so didn't hold that up much. Joplin had 4,000 head, just on the early call, kind of steady and a light test. But on Monday morning there in the Bluegrass Stockyard South in Stanford, Kentucky, they had a load of 807-pound steers at 10:30 in the morning, bring 143, and that doesn't look much cheaper in Stanford, Kentucky. But that's your feeder flash for Tuesday.